How many times have you trusted someone only to feel betrayed later? Have you ever felt like your instincts were warning you, but you ignored them only to regret it later? Trust is the foundation of every relationship, but what happens when it's built on lies or manipulation? Trusting the wrong person is like building a house on sand. It may look strong at first, but it will eventually collapse. Or think of it like lending your umbrella during a storm, only to watch them walk away with it while you're left soaked and shivering. It's painful, isn't it? But it's also a lesson. Every time someone breaks your trust, they leave behind clues, subtle patterns of behavior that reveal their true nature. The question is, are you paying attention? When you trust the wrong people, it's not just your trust that gets broken. It's your peace of mind, your confidence, and sometimes even your ability to trust others. Recognizing the signs of untrustworthiness is essential for protecting your happiness and your boundaries. In today's video, we'll uncover 8 signs you cannot trust someone. These signs will help you recognize who might not have your best interests at heart and empower you to make wiser decisions. And don't miss the 6th and last sign. It's often the most ignored, yet it's the clearest indicator of someone's true character. Let's dive into this journey of understanding trust and protecting what matters most, your peace of mind. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel for more wisdom inspired by Stoic philosophy. But before we dive in, pay attention to this story, which will help you better understand the wisdom in this material. The story of Ethan, the masked friend. In a small town surrounded by rolling hills, there lived a kind-hearted young man named Ethan. He was known for his generosity and his unwavering trust in people. Ethan believed that everyone he met had good intentions, and this belief often blinded him to reality. One day, Ethan met a traveler named Lucas. Lucas was charming, full of stories, and seemed to know just the right words to say. "You're a good man, Ethan," Lucas said. "People like you deserve success. Let's work together, and I promise you, we'll both achieve great things." Flattered by Lucas's praise, Ethan welcomed him into his life without hesitation. They started working on a small business together, and Ethan poured his time, energy, and savings into their venture. Lucas, on the other hand, seemed more interested in talking than doing. Whenever things got tough, Lucas would find excuses to leave or shift the blame onto Ethan. At first, Ethan brushed off these red flags. "He's probably just having a hard time," he thought. But then things took a darker turn. Ethan noticed that money from their shared funds was disappearing. When he asked Lucas about it, Lucas laughed and said, "Don't you trust me? I'm your friend." This made Ethan uneasy, but he didn't want to doubt someone he had called a friend. However, the signs became impossible to ignore. Lucas would often speak kindly to Ethan's face, but criticize him to others behind his back. He would make promises but never follow through. And most telling of all, Lucas only seemed to care about Ethan when he needed something. One evening, Ethan visited his grandmother, a wise woman who had lived through many ups and downs in her life. Over a cup of tea, Ethan poured out his worries. "How do I know if I can trust Lucas?" he asked. His grandmother smiled gently and said, "Trust is like a fragile bridge. It takes time and care to build, but it can be destroyed in an instant. Look at Lucas's actions, not his words. People can wear masks, but their behavior will always reveal the truth." The next day, Ethan decided to test Lucas. He told him about a fictional deal that required an urgent investment just to see how he would react. Lucas quickly refused to contribute any money, saying he didn't have enough. But later, Ethan found out Lucas had spent a large sum on something for himself. That was the final straw. Ethan ended their partnership and cut ties with Lucas. Though it hurt, Ethan realized he had saved himself from even greater betrayal. Over time, Ethan learned to be more cautious. He didn't stop trusting people, but he made sure to trust those whose actions matched their words. his grandmother's advice stayed with him. A real friend doesn't just talk about loyalty, they show it through their deeds. And so, Ethan rebuilt his life with stronger, more genuine connections, leaving behind the masked friend who had tried to take advantage of his trust. If you find these videos helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on the latest content. Let's begin. Number 1, they pretend to be someone they are not. Have you ever met someone who feels too perfect? They say all the right things, act exactly how you'd want them to, and seem to have no flaws. But beneath this polished exterior lies a troubling truth. They're pretending to be someone they're not. It's as if they're wearing a mask and the real person is hidden away, afraid to come out. Why is this such a big deal? Because trust is built on authenticity. If someone can't be honest about who they are, how can you trust anything they say or do? Pretending to be someone else is not just a habit, it's a strategy. These individuals craft a version of themselves they think will impress you or gain your approval. Maybe they exaggerate their achievements, adopt your interest to bond, or present themselves as morally perfect. Whatever the case, it's not real. It's a performance. Think of it like buying a beautifully wrapped gift, only to open it and find it's empty. The package looked great, but there was nothing of substance inside. That's what relationships with these pretenders are like. Over time, their mask begins to crack, and the truth starts to surface. And by then, you've likely invested time, energy, and emotions into someone who doesn't actually exist. Why do people do this? Most of the time, it stems from insecurity. They believe that who they are isn't enough, so they construct a persona they think others will admire. But this charade comes at a cost. Living inauthentically is exhausting, and it breeds a lack of trust, not just from others, but within themselves. A person who lies about who they are is often battling inner turmoil, but instead of facing it, they choose to project a false image. So, how can you spot someone who's pretending? Look for inconsistencies. Do their stories shift depending on who's listening? Do their actions contradict their words? Are they overly defensive or evasive when asked simple questions about themselves? These are cracks in the mask that reveal what's really underneath. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Stoicism values truth above all else because it's the foundation of a virtuous life. Pretending to be someone else is a betrayal of truth and of trust. When you encounter someone like this, protect your peace. Surround yourself with people who embrace their flaws, are honest about their struggles, and don't feel the need to play a role. Trust is a precious thing, and it should only be given to those who truly deserve it. Remember, someone who pretends to be someone else is not just lying to you, they're lying to themselves. And that's a battle you can't fight for them. Stay true to yourself, and let authenticity guide who you let into your life. Number 2, they gossip about others. Have you ever met someone who always has something to say about others, but it's rarely positive? They know everyone's secrets, exaggerate stories, and seem to take delight in tearing others down. At first, it might seem harmless or even entertaining, but here's the truth. If someone is quick to gossip about others, chances are they'll do the same to you. Gossip is like a double-edged sword. It harms the person being talked about, but it also reveals something about the gossiper. It shows their inability to deal with their own insecurities, so they deflect by pointing fingers at others. People who thrive on gossip are like architects of negativity, building bridges of mistrust between everyone around them. Imagine trust as a delicate thread. Gossip is like a pair of scissors, snipping away at that thread until there's nothing left. When someone gossips, they're not just sharing stories, they're breaking bonds. You might wonder, what's the harm if it's just words? But words are powerful. They can ruin reputations, strain relationships, and create an environment of suspicion and fear. Why do people gossip? The answer often lies in insecurity. By focusing on others' flaws, they temporarily escape their own. It's a way of climbing higher by pulling others down. But here's the irony. While they try to appear superior, gossip only makes them look smaller. Gossipers lose respect because people know that what's said about others today could be said about them tomorrow. So how do you recognize a gossiper? Pay attention to their patterns. Are they overly interested in other people's private lives? Do they start conversations with "don't tell anyone," or do they seem to enjoy stirring up drama wherever they go? These are the telltale signs of someone who can't be trusted. What does Stoicism teach us about this? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Gossip is a waste of time and energy. It doesn't build anything, it only destroys. Stoicism encourages us to focus on self-improvement, not the flaws of others. If you're around someone who gossips, here's what you can do. First, don't engage. Gossip only survives when it has an audience. Second, set boundaries. Let them know you're not interested in negative talk about others. And finally, evaluate their place in your life. Surround yourself with people who lift others up, not tear them down. Remember, a person who gossips about others is revealing more about their character than the people they talk about. And trust me, you don't want to be their next topic of conversation. Protect your peace, value authenticity, and choose relationships built on respect, not whispers in the dark. If you found this video valuable, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom, and don't forget to say thank God in the comments. Number 3, they exploit vulnerabilities you share. Have you ever opened up to someone, sharing your deepest fears or struggles, only to have them use it against you later? It feels like a betrayal, doesn't it? Trusting someone with your vulnerabilities is one of the most courageous things you can do, but when that trust is exploited, it cuts deeper than any wound. People who exploit vulnerabilities are like wolves in sheep's clothing. They come across as supportive and caring, creating a safe space for you to share your thoughts and feelings. But underneath that facade lies a darker motive. They're not listening to help or support you. They're gathering ammunition. Later, they'll use your words as a weapon, manipulating you or twisting the narrative to suit their agenda. Think of trust as a glass vase. When someone exploits your vulnerability, it's like they shatter that vase into pieces. And no matter how much you try to glue it back together, the cracks will always remain. These individuals thrive on control and manipulation. By using your weaknesses against you, they keep you in a state of fear and uncertainty, making you doubt your own strength. Why do people do this? The answer is simple: power. By exploiting what you've shared, they maintain a sense of superiority. It's a way of keeping you vulnerable while they feel in control. But the truth is, their actions reflect their own insecurities. They lack the courage to face their flaws, so they prey on yours instead. How can you spot someone like this? Pay attention to how they handle information. Do they bring up sensitive topics you've shared in moments of conflict? Do they laugh off your pain or use your struggles to embarrass you? These are clear signs that they don't respect the trust you've given them. Stoicism teaches us to protect our inner peace. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. In other words, don't just speak about trust, live in a way that guards it fiercely. Protect your personal space and be mindful of who you let into it. So what can you do if you encounter someone like this? First, stop sharing personal details with them. If they've exploited your trust once, they'll likely do it again. Second, confront the behavior. Let them know you're aware of what they're doing and won't tolerate it. Lastly, distance yourself. Relationships built on manipulation are toxic, and staying in them only harms your well-being. Remember, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. But that strength deserves to be protected and shared only with those who value it. Don't let someone's exploitation make you feel small. You have the power to reclaim your peace and surround yourself with people who lift you up, not tear you down. Life is too short to waste on those who weaponize trust. Choose wisely and let your circle be filled with those who honor your courage to be vulnerable. Number 4, they twist words to their advantage. Have you ever had a conversation with someone that left you scratching your head, wondering, is that what I really said? These are the people who are experts at twisting words, taking what you said and reshaping it to fit their narrative. At first, it might seem like a misunderstanding, but over time, it becomes clear. It's manipulation. Twisting words is not just an annoying habit, it's a subtle form of control. These individuals use your own words against you to make you feel guilty, justify their behavior, or shift the blame in their favor. It's like playing a game of chess where they're always one move ahead. But instead of strategy, they rely on distortion and deceit. For example, imagine you share a concern with someone saying, "I've been feeling overwhelmed lately." A normal response would be empathy or support. But someone who twists words might reply, "Oh, so now you're blaming me for everything." Suddenly, the focus shifts from your feelings to their defensiveness, leaving you frustrated and unheard. Why do they do this? It often stems from insecurity or a need for control. By twisting your words, they maintain the upper hand, avoiding accountability while making you doubt yourself. It's their way of rewriting reality to suit their agenda, and in the process, they erode trust. The damage this causes goes beyond confusion. When someone consistently manipulates your words, it chips away at your confidence. You start second-guessing yourself, wondering if you're overreacting or misremembering. Over time, this gaslighting effect can leave you questioning your own reality, and that's exactly what they want. So, how do you spot someone who twists words? Pay attention to patterns. Do they constantly take your statements out of context? Do they exaggerate or distort what you've said to make themselves look better? Do they put words in your mouth that you never actually said? These are all signs of manipulation. What does Stoicism teach us about this? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When someone twists your words, they're trying to control your emotions. But Stoicism teaches us to remain calm, grounded, and focused on what we know to be true. So how do you deal with these individuals? First, clarify your statements. When they twist your words, calmly restate what you actually meant. Don't let their distortions derail the conversation. Second, set boundaries. If someone repeatedly twists your words, limit how much you share with them. And finally, trust your instincts. If their behavior feels manipulative, it probably is. Remember, twisting words is not just a bad habit, it's a tactic to manipulate and control. Don't let it make you doubt yourself or your reality. Surround yourself with people who value honesty and clarity, and don't waste your energy on those who distort the truth. Because at the end of the day, trust is built on open communication, not clever wordplay. If you found this video valuable, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom. Number 5, they avoid responsibility for mistakes. Have you ever noticed how some people will do everything in their power to dodge accountability? Whether it's a missed deadline, a broken promise, or a poor decision, they always seem to have an excuse, or worse, someone else to blame. These are the people who treat responsibility like a hot potato, tossing it away before it gets too close. But let me tell you, avoiding responsibility isn't just a bad habit. It's a flashing warning sign that you can't trust them. Avoiding responsibility shows a lack of integrity. Mistakes are inevitable. They're part of being human. But what defines a trustworthy person is how they handle those mistakes. Do they own up to them, or do they run and hide? People who avoid responsibility refuse to face the consequences of their actions. And when they shift blame or deny their faults, They not only damage relationships, but also erode trust, brick by brick. Imagine working with someone who always deflects blame. They let the team take the fall for their errors, claim credit for successes they had little to do with, and act as if they're always in the right. It's frustrating, isn't it? Over time, this behavior creates a toxic environment. No one wants to rely on someone who can't admit when they're wrong, because deep down, we all know, if things go south, they'll let you take the hit. Why do people avoid responsibility? The answer lies in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of consequences, and fear of appearing weak. Owning up to mistakes takes courage, and for some, it's easier to deflect than to face the discomfort of accountability. But here's the irony. In trying to protect their image, they actually tarnish it. A person who avoids responsibility loses respect, credibility, and ultimately, trust. How do you recognize this behavior? Look for patterns. Do they always have an excuse? Do they play the victim or point fingers when things go wrong? Do they downplay their role in conflicts or failures? These are clear signs that accountability is not in their vocabulary. What does Stoicism teach us about this? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no time arguing about what a good man should be one." Owning your mistakes isn't a weakness. It's a mark of strength and character. It shows you're willing to learn, grow, and make things right. In contrast, avoiding responsibility shows a refusal to grow, and that's not someone you can count on. So, how do you handle people like this? First, don't let their lack of accountability become your burden. Make clear boundaries and document their actions if needed, especially in professional settings. Second, lead by example. Show them what responsibility looks like by owning your own mistakes and demonstrating growth. And finally, decide if they belong in your life. Trust is built on accountability, and without it, any relationship, whether personal or professional, is bound to crumble. Remember, avoiding responsibility doesn't erase the mistake, it only amplifies the damage. Surround yourself with people who own their actions and strive to do better. Because at the end of the day, trust isn't about perfection. It's about honesty and growth. Number 6, they disrespect boundaries. Have you ever dealt with someone who pushes your limits, ignores your comfort, and acts as if your boundaries don't exist? They invade your personal space, demand your time, or force their opinions on you, all while pretending it's no big deal. But let's be clear, people who disrespect boundaries are not just inconsiderate. They're showing you that your needs and values mean little to them. Boundaries are like fences. They protect your peace, define your identity, and signal how you expect to be treated. When someone disrespects them, it's like they're barging through your front gate, uninvited. At first, it might seem minor. A friend constantly calling at odd hours, a co-worker dumping their workload on you, or a family member making decisions on your behalf. But over time, these small violations add up, leaving you drained, frustrated, and even questioning your self-worth. Why do people disrespect boundaries? It often comes down to control. They want to impose their will, believing their needs are more important than yours. Others might not even realize they're doing it, but ignorance is no excuse. Whether it's intentional or not, this behavior reveals a lack of respect for your time, energy, and individuality. The impact of this behavior can be profound. When boundaries are crossed repeatedly, it creates resentment. Relationships start to feel one-sided, where you're constantly giving while the other person takes. It's emotionally exhausting and leaves you wondering if they truly care about you, or just what they can get from you. So how do you spot someone who disrespects boundaries? Look for patterns. Do they dismiss your requests or push you to do things you've clearly said no to? Do they guilt-trip you into saying yes when you don't want to? Or do they get defensive or angry when you try to set limits? These are clear signs of someone who doesn't value your boundaries. Stoicism teaches us to guard our inner peace. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Setting boundaries is an act of self-mastery. It's how you protect your freedom and well-being. Those who ignore them are not just challenging your limits. They're challenging your ability to stay true to yourself. What can you do when faced with this behavior? First, be firm. Communicate your boundaries clearly and confidently, without guilt or apology. Second, enforce them. If someone continues to push, follow through with consequences, whether that means limiting contact or stepping away entirely. Lastly, evaluate the relationship. Someone who disrespects your boundaries consistently isn't showing you love or care. They're showing you disregard. Remember, respecting boundaries isn't just about saying no, it's about saying yes to yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting your peace. True relationships thrive on mutual respect, not control or manipulation. At the end of the day, boundaries are not just walls, they're bridges to healthier, more respectful connections. Surround yourself with those who honor them and walk away from those who don't, because your peace, your energy, and your self-respect are worth protecting. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. Number 7, they react emotionally to criticism. We've all been there, when someone criticizes us and our immediate reaction is to defend ourselves, lash out, or even retreat in shame. It's natural to feel hurt when someone points out our flaws, but here's the reality. Reacting emotionally to criticism not only undermines your character, but also damages your reputation. Think about it. How do you feel when someone reacts defensively or angrily to a piece of constructive criticism? Does it make you respect them more, or does it make you question their ability to handle feedback? Reacting emotionally to criticism often portrays insecurity and a lack of self-control. It shows that the person is more invested in protecting their ego than in growing from the feedback. Why is this so damaging? Because it signals a lack of emotional maturity. People who react emotionally to criticism are often seen as fragile, unable to handle challenges, and unwilling to grow. In the long run, this weakens their credibility and reputation. After all, if you can't handle criticism without reacting impulsively, how can others trust you to manage real challenges? Stoic philosophy offers wisdom on how to handle criticism gracefully. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." This means that while someone else may be the one offering the criticism, it's your own mind that chooses how to react. The key is to take a step back and reflect instead of letting the criticism dictate your emotions. Why do people react emotionally to criticism? It's simple. They feel threatened. Criticism challenges their sense of self-worth, and instead of accepting it as an opportunity to improve, they view it as an attack. But this only fuels the emotional reaction and prevents growth. Reacting emotionally is like throwing gasoline on a fire. It only makes things worse. So, how do you stop reacting emotionally to criticism? First, take a deep breath. Instead of responding right away, give yourself a moment to process. Ask yourself, is this criticism valid? Can I learn from it? Then calmly acknowledge the feedback and decide what to do with it. If the criticism is unhelpful or malicious, don't internalize it. If it's constructive, take it as a tool for improvement. And what about when you're the one offering criticism? Be mindful of your tone and approach. Make sure your feedback is respectful and helpful, not meant to provoke or belittle. People will be more receptive to your criticism if it's delivered with care. At the end of the day, how you react to criticism defines your character. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from controlling your reactions, not letting external events dictate your inner peace. Strong people don't react emotionally to criticism. They take it as an opportunity to learn and grow. The next time you're criticized, remember, your reaction is in your control. Take a moment, reflect, and respond with calm. That's how you build a reputation based on strength and wisdom. Number 8, they use flattery excessively. We've all experienced it, the overly kind words that seem to flow a little too smoothly, the compliments that feel more like a sales pitch than genuine praise. Flattery might seem harmless, even flattering at first, but here's the hard truth. When someone showers you with excessive compliments, it's rarely about admiration. More often than not, it's a tool to manipulate or deceive. Think about it. How do you feel when someone flatters you excessively? Do you feel genuinely appreciated, or do you start questioning their motives? Flattery is like a mask. It hides the truth and covers the real intent. While the words may sound sweet, they often come with hidden strings attached. Over time, the person doing the flattering becomes seen not as a supporter, but as someone who seeks something in return. Why is this so damaging? Because it signals insincerity. People who use flattery excessively are often trying to gain something from you, whether it's your favor, attention, or trust. It's not about lifting you up, it's about lifting themselves. It's a cheap attempt to gain influence, but it comes at a high cost: respect. Those who flatter excessively might appear friendly, but deep down, they're not seen as trustworthy. People begin to wonder, if they're willing to say anything to please me, what are they saying about me when I'm not around? Stoic philosophy has a strong stance on this. Seneca said, "The flatterer is the one who both praises and criticizes without honesty." True praise is always grounded in honesty, not designed to manipulate or deceive. A person of integrity speaks the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, and never resorts to empty compliments for personal gain. But why do people flatter excessively? It's simple. They crave something. Whether it's validation, approval, or leverage, they use flattery to get what they want without putting in the effort or honesty to earn it. It's like trying to win affection with candy. It's sweet in the moment, but it leaves you feeling empty afterward. So how do you spot excessive flattery? First, ask yourself, does this person compliment me with genuine care, or are they trying to win me over? If the compliments are always over the top or feel too rehearsed, chances are they're not coming from a place of sincerity. Second, recognize the difference between praise and manipulation. True praise doesn't come with hidden expectations. It's just an honest acknowledgement. And what about when someone flatters you excessively? Set boundaries. Appreciate the kind words, but don't let them cloud your judgment. Understand that respect and trust are earned, not bought with compliments. At the end of the day, flattery might win a moment of attention, but it can never build lasting respect. Your reputation is not shaped by the praise you receive. It's built by the truth you speak and the actions you take. Strong people don't flatter. They inspire with their honesty, integrity, and actions. The next time someone showers you with excessive compliments, remember, true respect comes from truth, not words. Look beyond the flattery and choose relationships that are grounded in sincerity. Remember, trust is the foundation of any relationship. Don't settle for less. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, and leave a thank you in the comments.